Okay, so this one from the ages of 12 or 13?
Like 13, it was really just that summer mostly. And then
Okay.
after that long summer in the fall, I got a Milwaukee brace, which I could take off to
Right.
take class in. And then put it on and go to school and sleep. Take it off to dance.
So this is sort of puberty?
Yeah, totally.
So what was that? Like, first of all, one of the questions, I know it's kind of, it's a question.
Yeah.
But what was your puberty like? Because that's a huge
Yeah.
thing that we don't talk about in dance a lot. And I think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of dancers have some of these issues. We don't talk about the female body and what puberty does to it. What was your puberty like?
You know, it's so interesting because I totally forgot this until now. I mean, I don't really think about this when I think about my scoliosis years, but I had an eating disorder at the same time. And I don't really think it was a body thing as much it was as a control thing. Because I couldn't do
all this other stuff.
All this stuff was 15 pounds on top of me. And it was after the cast and I had the brace and I was trying to you know, control what my body was doing because I was 13, 14 years old. And for 1 year I had an eating disorder.
And it was just that internal.
Yeah, and it was scary and weird. But it was dealing with this. It was I think a very emotional thing to deal with this, which I don't usually think about.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, it's interesting how resilient you are because while you're going through it, you kind of just you're trying to survive. You're just getting through it. And then sometimes it does take a while, if ever, because you might just push it or just keep moving to process all of the layers of it. That's like a really tender time.
Yeah, it was strange because I mean, seriously, I don't really think about this time very often. And I remember, you know, the torture chamber thing.
Right.
Well, I would be in this brace and I was very skinny and I would get sores on my skin because the brace would rub the sores, and it was sort of continued torture. And
a deeper level of it.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was very strange, and I don't really. I mean, I'm just glad it didn't last longer than a year.
Yeah. Well, do you ever talk to any of those girls?
No,
because
I don't ever think about this time of my life. I put it away.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I appreciate you talking.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't ever bring it up. Yeah.
But I think it's so interesting because when people look at you on stage, they see this and they're like, oh, I want to be that. They want that. But you never know the whole story. And people have very interesting stories. And sometimes they're not as maybe quote unquote intense as what you're talking about. But it's so layered. And it's never as easy or it's never what you think it is.
No, and I've been this big since I was a tiny baby. I mean, I was a skinny kid all my life, and I still thought there was something I needed to, you know, it wasn't about you know, losing weight. It was about controlling something.
Yeah, well, a lot of times that's what eating disorders are really. In the essence of them is that it's not a physical thing. It's about, regardless of the size that person is, they can't stop because it's the relinquishment of control that's the root of it.
You know what made me stop?
What? What
made me stop was I came home from my first summer course away and my first year of being in the brace, and I had lost a tremendous amount of weight, and my teachers said you can't dance until you weigh this much, at least. So we'll see you when you weigh this much.
And you're like,
yeah, I had to gain like 20 pounds, and I had to decide. They said you can't come to the school, and all along they were like, come take class. You're our best student. You're our quickest student. But when I wasn't healthy, they said you can't come here.
Good for them.
No, yeah. And then it was up to me to decide what's more important to me, this game that I'm playing with, or what I've been trying to do my whole life. And it was easy after that.
That is so
I ate pudding. easy because it was still like
the mental thing.
It was still, I still had to balance myself out and sort of reshape things, but I knew my goal. I knew my goal was more important to me
than
this thing.
That thing.
Yeah.
And you knew that it wasn't. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it wasn't real. Like it was crafted. That it was this thing was manufactured.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you had created.
I knew I was stronger than that.
Right, and so the thing that you really wanted,
when it was taken away from me,
yeah,
I knew I had to shift gears.
Now this is the revelation that I had. Well, I like to think I had. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why I so enjoy watching you mm-hmm. is, this is all me. I like to think. That I consider you the Meryl Streep of ballet.
Whoa.
I do. Because I think that you are, how Meryl Streep is she's lauded for her technique, like the idea of her technique. Like mm-hmm. She's brilliant because she is technically flawless, which doesn't mean that she's quote unquote boring. It just means that she can seamlessly create these characters mm-hmm. and transform. And I feel the same way about you. I feel like you're the perfect example of how technique frees you to execute your artistic choices. And I like to think that when I'm sitting, that I go like, that's a good choice.
Oh, thanks.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you see like that it's not just ahead because it was either choreographed or, mm-hmm. It feels good. Mm-hmm. Like you can watch feel-good dancers, like they do, and they're just living.
Yes.
I can see that you are living, but mm-hmm. it's like you are consciously actively making these artistic choices both musically and physically. That's my theory. And I think that the way that what you just described of your training, that point of having to be really detail oriented and make these choices because of a limitation might be a part of it.
And then the limitation of saying, that you can't do this until you to see what you can do with that. So it's amazing what when you're presented with a challenge, the magic that can come out of that. It's like,
but that's your personality.
Yeah, I like to dig in stuff. I like to dig into things here and in here. I like physically and mentally to like go in.
Because another person that would just break. That would be just too much. You know what I mean? Like
quite possibly. Yeah.
Or they're just not interested in that particular way. But that is a character, a personal characteristic of yours. That is like you approach everything that way.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, I feel good about it. I feel it's me, and it's a very strong trait of my mom too.
Oh, that's nice. That. Yeah, but I sit there and I go like. And in fact, you're one of the dancers that I always, when I'm teaching, you're one of the people that I bring up whenever I want to, like kids they want to swaha, and you go like but I was like you may not, you have to fall in love with technique because it gives you the freedom to be able to control all that other stuff. And when the moment you decide you want to just let go, you know exactly where you are. And you know exactly, now I know if I go this, I can do this, but if I do that, it's
over.
Destroyed.
Yeah.
But you can play with those boundaries.
Yeah.
But you only can do that if you
have fine-tuned.
Exactly. And you got to fall in love with that word. I was like,
yeah, you do. You have to fall in love with the discipline.
The discipline, the work, the tedium. It's like, it's like, what is that? When they do that, like needlepoint or something
just
like that. That detail. You have to be detail oriented.
Just breaking things down and rethinking things and
curious. You have to be constantly curious.
And courageous to try things, fall out of it, think or hear what a teacher says, try it a different way, and then maybe that worked, and you're like, let me try, and then you start to go, oh, I know that feeling to get off on that left side when I'm turning,
and to have a vision, like I want to. This is what I'm trying, an intention. This is what I'm trying to get to.
a visual
Right.
goal. My mom she was a basketball coach.
Really?
So I grew up in the gym with her team and stuff. And she used to tell me when I would be in New York and doing my first solo thing. So she would tell me if I was nervous, she would say, just think about what you want to do, how you want to do it, visualize it the way you want to do it. And just keep visualizing that, and it'll start to go into your system, you know, like using the mental. And I love that idea. And so I've always had that kind of instinct or process of thinking things out and kind of thinking it into my body,
right?
Believing it into my system.
I think it's even beyond like an affirmation. It's more like a plotting. Mm-hmm. You know, like
you're mapping it out in your brain, and you're mapping it so that it goes into your.
And it makes sense because the brain tells the body what to do. So if it's there, it's already.
It helps.
I call it your GPS. Like if it's not in your brain, you're not going anywhere.
No, exactly.